All right, y'all. So we're going to get started to the year one operating budget. So here we go. This is in your digital assets that you downloaded from the Restaurant Launchpad. Year one operating budget right here. If you are on Google Sheets, you can open it on Google Sheets. If you're on a Mac, you can open it in Numbers. I'm in Windows, so I'm going to open it in Excel. Okay, so here are all the tabs at the bottom. Okay, and there are a lot of them. There are a couple more. We can shrink this down to make the left-right bar a little smaller. Um, but yeah, here are all the tabs at the bottom. So so the whole thing is the workbook. First of all, we need to go to enable editing, and it's set to read only. So what we're going to go down and do is save as year one operating budget. Name of our restaurant, of course, is Burger Hero. I'm going to save that to downloads. Okay, and here we are, copy of year one operating budget, Burger Hero. So undo that little highlight. All right, so here, away we go. We are on the title tab, Your Restaurant LLC. You can either we can put, let's see, put Your Company LLC, DBA, Burger Hero, or you can just put Burger Hero. We can extend that so that it fits. So add the location, the submission type. This is the year one operating budget. So Y1, year one op budget version, it's going to be, so put this on the date that you're making it. Okay. Because if you save multiple copies, or if you do multiple versions, you need to be able to track them in chronological order. Now, the instructions right here are very important. Only make your changes to cells that are highlighted in yellow. That goes for every single tab on this entire sheet. Most of the other cells have formulas that will be lost or ruined if you overwrite them. You can always go back to the original document that you downloaded, and that will have all the preserved formulas in it, but that will mean starting over. So if you mess up any formulas, go back to that original sheet and you'll have access to the correct document. Okay, so now click on the summary tab. So, all right, so we are on summary. So you can see on summary tab, this is where all the answers are going to be. This is where all the totals are going to be, but nothing here is in yellow. That's because all of these have formulas built into them and links to other cells and other sheets. Okay, so don't type anything into this sheet. And so let's see. So for stats, okay. So this is where we're going to start typing stuff in. So stats, let's say your restaurant is going to be open for brunch, but only on Sundays. So there are 4.2 weeks in every year. So I believe you're going to get 3 months every year that have 5 Sundays in them. The rest are going to have 4. So 4, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5. Whoops, 45. 4, 4, 4, 5, 4. Okay. And then the covers per service, let's say you're going to project it to 180 covers every Sunday. So we can also click and drag that value all the way across. And I'll fix that. All right. So that gives you the total for the entire year out here. Okay. So food check average, let's say you're planning to get $19 for food. Probably not that many people will have Bloody Marys, but you may have a few. So this is where you got to say, like, let's see, if a Bloody Mary is $10 and every fourth person is going to have a Bloody Mary, that means every person is going to have 1/4 of a Bloody Mary. So 250 might be your liquor check average. If your beers cost $8, but only one in eight people you think is going to have beer at brunch, then that's a $1. And then let's say you have mimosas. Let's say every other person is going to have a mimosa and they are $10. That gives you a $5 check average. And then other check average, it might be merch. There, it might be, let's see, maybe you do, whole quiches or something like that. But this line for most places is going to be left blank. So this gives you a total check average of 27.50 for brunch. Okay. So if you were running the bar as a separate revenue center, then do the same thing with bar on this line. And then a quick trick, if you were planning to do the same food, liquor, beer, wine check average every Sunday throughout the year, regardless of seasonality, then what you can do is highlight all these cells. See that little dot right there at the bottom right corner of what you highlighted? You can click and drag that all the way across to quickly and evenly populate all the rest of the cells in those rows. So again, for bar, do the same thing for brunch if you're running the bar as a separate restaurant center. So for lunch, so see how these cells are not highlighted and neither are the ones for dinner? That's because they have a much more detailed breakdown. So the lunch and dinner covers, I've set this up for you again on the covers matrix tab to put in these cells that are highlighted yellow, all of the covers by every single day and every single month. Sounds time consuming, but it is worth doing the detailed work here. So on a Monday in January, how many lunch covers are you going to do? Well, let's say you're closed Mondays and Tuesdays in January. So these are going to be zero. Let's say you're closed Mondays and Tuesdays all year. Then rows 4 and 5 are going to remain zero. You're open on Wednesday. You're going to do brunch on Sunday. So make sure you don't double count. So these on Sunday are going to be zeros as well. So you're only going to be putting lunch numbers for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And let's say you think you'll do 75 and 75 on Wednesday and Thursday, 85 Friday, Saturday. Sorry, 85 on Friday, 115 on Saturday. So giving you an average daily of 66.7 covers. Now, obviously that factors in the zeros on the other days. So same thing for dinner. Let's say you're open for dinner 7 days a week, and that's going to be your busy service. So maybe you'll do 90 the first couple of days of the week. And it'll start to ramp up towards the weekend. Get really busy on Saturday, and then back off a little on Sunday. So your average dinner cover count is 102.1. All right, so let's see what that did to the stats page. Okay, so that populated everything for January for lunch and dinner covers on the stats page. So for lunch and dinner, food, liquor, beer, wine, and other check averages, you're going to do the same thing that you did up in the brunch section. So let's say for lunch, you think you'll get $21 for food. Maybe not that many people are going to drink at lunch, right? So you've got maybe 1 in 20 people are going to get a $10 martini. So 50 cents. Maybe 1 in 10 people are going to get a $10 beer, so $1. Maybe 1 in 5 people are going to get a $15 glass of wine. So you got $3 there, giving you a lunch check average of $27.50 and then a total lunch revenue for January of $20,400. So food check average at dinner, probably much higher, right? You're selling steaks, you're selling nice fish. So somebody's having a $35 entree and a $14 first course. That's $49. Maybe you have $10 desserts and 50% of the people get dessert. So let's say plan on $54 for your dinner check average. Every other person is going to have a $12 cocktail, $6 for that. One in five people will have a $10 beer, $2 for that. Let's say most people are going to have a glass and a half of wine. And so maybe those are $12. So you can put an $18 wine check average. So giving you a big total check average for dinner of $80. All right, so we filled in everything that we need to. Now you know how to fill in everything that you need to for the yellow highlighted cells. All right, so for cost of goods sold, you can see that only the highlighted stuff is what you're going to fill out. And I have pre-populated these line items with some industry standard cost percentages. So food cost percentage, when your revenue is generally lower in slower months, you want to have a higher cost percentage. So that's what I put in for January. And then I'm assuming that you were going to be busiest in May, October, November, and December. So those have the lowest food cost averages. Liquor remains static, beer remains static, wine remains static. Other cost percentage, that's going to be up to you. If you're selling retail, that's going to run at a pretty high cost average or pretty high cost percentage. But that's something that you will figure out and input there. Okay, so for labor, you can see most of this, or half of this at least, is in white. So that's because these values are going to be generated by the labor matrix over here. Okay, so this is where you're going to put in the rate, the number of hours per shift, and the number of shifts that each of these people is going to work. So let's say your chef de cuisine is going to make, I don't know, $100,000 a year. So divide that by and we're assuming that that is a salary position. So we're going to put in 100,000. Oh, not a million. And so that's going to give us a cost per month of 83.33. So your chef de cuisine, sous chef, and you can change these names if you want to, are set up as salary positions. Okay. And that's what the formulas are tied to. These others are set up as hourly positions. So your rate might be $15 for a prep cook. He's going to work an 8-hour shift. He's going to work 5 shifts per week. He's a full-time employee. So that's going to give you cost per month of $25.98. So then let's go back and see what that did to the labor. So that has already started to populate the labor tab. So you'll go back to the labor matrix and do this for every single employee. You may not need all of these. You may need more than these. If you need more, let's say you need, what do we have, 6 lunch servers in there? Highlight a row that's within here. Insert. That's going to add. And then you can highlight this whole row. See that little dot? Drag that down. That'll populate this with all of the same formulas, all the same functionality as the other rows within that group. You can do that with any of these. Same thing, if you need to add, let's say you need to add another manager here. So insert a row between those two managers. And so this will allow you to add a salary position with the same formula as the other salary positions. All right, so that's the labor matrix. Back to labor. So this is going to be for you to fill in on your own. If you're going to have any contract labor, accrued bonuses, incentives, or employee benefits. This is your projected costs for all of the items on the left, from kitchen supplies, china, silver, glass, linen. Fill these in on your own. The sheet will total it up for you. A and G is administrative and general costs. You may not be using all of these. Sales, this is your marketing, your PR, anything like that. Same thing, fill in your projected cost per month. R&M, repairs and maintenance. So um, there could be a lot more in here. There could be a lot less in here, but these are the basics. You want to get preventive maintenance contracts for your HVAC and your refrigeration. Those should be quarterly charges that you can go ahead and budget, and that should save you a lot of money on repairs. Utilities, gas, water, electric. You can also add TV if you're using it. You can add Wi-Fi to this matrix or to this tab as well. Fixed costs, things you can avoid. Um, so I've left rent over here, the highlighted cell in column O for rent, so you can put the total annual amount of rent in there. And then the formula, the spreadsheet is going to divide it for you and parcel it out monthly. So that's why this cell is yellow and all the rest in that row are white. Management fee, building insurance, business insurance, TICAM. This is your common area maintenance that you're probably paying to your landlord if he does the gardening and landscaping and trash pickup and fixes the parking lot or paints the lines in the parking lot or anything. And then that takes us to labor matrix, and that takes us to cover matrix, which we've already gone over. So back to the summary, you can see that this page has already started to populate without us having to do anything to it. So again, most importantly, only make your changes to the cells that are highlighted in yellow. Most other cells have formulas that will be lost or ruined if you overwrite them. All right, and that's the year one operating budget. Good luck with that.